Okay, boys and girls, we're live again. And how many weeks have I been doing this every day at 2 p.m. religiously? Religiously. I've been a good boy.
Huh?
I've been a really good boy. So, does anyone have a link to Danny's channel out there? Because I did not write it down yesterday. I have to replay the chat. I cannot do that.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, I got a brand new thing. Okay, I wrote an apology letter to Otangelo, and Immutable helped me write it, and he made me he heavily edited what I was gonna say.
Oh, well, why? I mean, huh? I'm lost by this.
Okay, Otangelo broke up with me, and he
Right.
hasn't been back for like a week because I played the Benny Hill song.
Right.
And Immutable helped me craft an apology letter to Otangelo, and I apologized to him very sincerely.
Okay, but if it was sincere, why did Immutable have to edit it?
Oh, well. You see, that's a long story.
I mean, and the other thing is, I'm still not hearing where you owed him an apology.
That's also a long story, but
I mean, look, if you told someone that, and I used this analogy the other day for something else, but I think it's kind of apt, but like if somebody told you that looking both ways before you cross the street is just, there's no upside to it. I mean, why would I do that? It's stupid to do that. Wouldn't you call them out for their idiocy? And wouldn't you be right for calling them out for their idiocy?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm still not getting where you.
But if you call them out for their idiocy and then they wouldn't come to your Christmas party and you really needed them to come to your Christmas party because they were the star on the tree, then you would have to craft an apology, right?
Well, that doesn't really sound like that doesn't really sound like a valid reason to apologize to somebody. That's that's like your apology has ulterior motives other than to be contrite.
Oh shit, are we live?
Yeah, we are live.
This is almost like the discussion we had last night. Anyway, so I have a new song for Otangelo. I have a new theme song for him.
Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, our leaves are so unchanging.
Okay, except it's Otangelo. Okay.
Or else
you think you'll like it? Huh?
You could go find like some rap song about OG.
But do you think you'll like the new? Do you think I even made a new theme song for him? I mean, that's how. I mean, I don't want to, I guess, brag about myself, but that's how big a man I am. I have to actually crafted a new theme song for Otangelo.
I think that the next time you should have Otangelo on is when he finally admits that creationism is complete nonsense.
Right. There are some people involved in this channel who think that we should have Otangelo back to actually encourage that sort of behavior. There are some people who disagree with that, and I won't tell you who's who. But
like, I can't figure that out.
Yeah. Oh, Phil Talk one. Okay, fucking YouTube is not smart enough to take the space out of Phil Talk. And when you ask for a channel to come up with a really good match, their programmers on YouTube are just hacks. I think they got them from the John Maddox School of Programming.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Don't do it. Oh my God. And he's got a video called That's Just Semantics. That's his top video on Phil Talk.
Really?
Yeah, that's okay. So we're going to have a thing at 4:45. So we're going to try to end this at 3:30 today. And we're going to have a philosophy of math talk. And I got a few more pages. I think I got one more page to read of that paper before then. So I got to have some time. I've been a bad boy. But anyway, yeah, Phil Talk. I can share this. So application window, Chrome tab, Phil Talk YouTube. There we go. There you go. There's Danny's channel. And that looks just like Danny, that little character he's got. That portrait, you see it?
No, my glasses off. What that? You talking about that cartoon thing up in the corner?
Yeah, it looks just like Danny, doesn't it?
I mean, I guess I only saw him that one time when he was on camera.
Yeah, looks exactly like him. Anyway,
I think that the fact that the representation of the cartoon is very fitting.
yeah, I've given all you guys more shit than I ever gave Otangelo. And you guys roll with it. You understand his humor, right? That I'm not being fucking shitty or serious. I don't know.
I think where the problem comes with Otangelo is that he in no way, I mean, and you've seen it when we have empirically showed him that he was wrong about something, and then he just runs away or he tries to change the subject or, he just vehemently disagrees, that he in no way thinks that he is wrong about anything. And so when, we make fun of him, he gets so highly offended because he does not recognize that he has anything wrong.
Yeah.
The world.
Well, yeah, but that's the case with all of them. I was listening last night. Okay, Andrew went on Neff's channel again. Rational empiricism. That Andrew, and he went on Neff's channel again last night. He only got about 3 words in, and then this guy named Barry Squared, I think he calls himself, got on, and yeah, he just hammered Nephilim. It was pretty funny, actually. It was pretty good, pretty cool. But I got an interesting comment on one of my videos yesterday where I mentioned Bill Morgan and his video on depression, which we did not play, right? But so Bill Morgan sent me a big comment, and I didn't have a problem. I complimented Bill Morgan on trying to do something about depression, and I criticized him for something he said on there. And here's what I criticized him for. I'll see if I can share it for you. See if I got the right thing. Oh my goodness. Why are you beach balling YouTube?
An hour or two.
Okay, let's see. I've got to locate it first here.
So I put Danny's channel in the live chat.
Yeah, so somebody put it. Oh, you did too. Okay, good. Oh, let's see. Get your shit together.
Why is my link? My link is different than Scott's.
Is it really?
Yeah, his ends with.
Oh, he had a search term on his or something. Yeah, that's just Google Chrome being a dick.
Yeah, because mine says, I don't know, it's longer. Maybe they just truncated it in a different spot or something.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the only thing I criticize, and I'll show you the criticism I delivered to Bill Morgan's how to deal with depression and all that. And this has got to be addressed. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of the. Okay.
Schools have taken away the God option. The way to deal with pain is to know your position with God.
Okay. That was his. Did the audio come through okay?
I guess I didn't really.
Okay. Well, I'll play it again.
Please try this. Schools have taken away the God option. The way to deal with pain is to know your position with God.
Schools have taken away the God option. That's his problem.
Well, and what about the second half? That the way to know your pain is to know God.
Yeah.
What you're trying to say there is like because God's causing the pain? Like, what? Huh?
No, they won't admit to that part. Our free will is causing the pain. But anyway, so here's what happened, and we'll get into this part now. Let me see here.
Yeah. Yep. Free will. That darn free will that causes childhood cancer.
Well, it's free will, and then our horrible tendency to misuse our free will and sin. Is basically why you have depression.
Yep, those toddlers that got childhood cancer, boy, they must have been sinning so bad.
Oh, there's little sinning motherfuckers. They're so sinful, those toddlers. In fact, toddlers are responsible for most accidental gun deaths in the U.S. I don't know if you knew that or not. But toddlers, I mean, if you see a toddler with a gun, and the only way to stop a toddler with a gun is a good guy with a gun. So if the doorbell rings and it's a toddler, draw down on that little sucker and take the first shot right away. Don't let that little bastard in the house.
Wouldn't a Banky work just as well?
I don't know. I've never tried that. I always just, start firing because I'm afraid of toddlers, man. Toddlers with guns. Don't get me started. It just scares the hell out of me. The idea of what they can do. Okay. He says, thank you for your comment on my video on depression. I wanted to let you know I deleted it. The reason why is this. I will debate anyone on science, creation, politics, baseball, history, but I don't want to debate depression. And, okay, so what I did is I put the comment, okay? So here's the comment that Bill Morgan found so out of place on his channel that he had to delete it. Now, this is what he thought we were debating about. I said, I really need to do a video to respond to this. You do realize that video will put many people out of reach of a solution to diseases that can kill you. He was talking about alcoholism, depression, and drug abuse. On the other hand, bravo and thanks, Bill, for addressing this. I wonder if you are Christian enough to link to my video when I make it on the meta view of dealing with these life-threatening and heartbreaking issues, ? Do you think that was worth deleting?
No.
Was I being really offensive there?
I don't think so.
On the other hand, bravo and thanks, Bill, for addressing this.
I
yeah,
mean, and then, he's saying, I don't want to debate on depression. I just want to go on my own channel and make my claims and,
Yeah. And in other words, anyone that has a problem with the God solution, he's going to make damn sure that they don't hear anything else other than his, oh, you got to accept Jesus, or you may as well put that gun in your mouth. You may as well die, you motherfucker. And so, I have a real problem with Bill right now. Real fucking problem. I said, you did not make the non-God options very clear, Bill. I don't just love these people who struggle. I am one of them, a survivor of all that. Did you ever make clear that there are survivors who have not found God? If not, then you are playing with lives, Bill. Can you send me my comment? And then I went and found it anyway. I said, by the way, the fact that you deleted my comment means we are now going to have a real fucking problem. Leaving the comment would allow some people to see that there are alternatives to the Jesus treatment. You felt the need to delete that. Big problem. I was being quite charitable prior. So anyway.
Well, and the thing is, too, is I don't see how. Okay, so if you read the Bible, you're a Christian, you read the Bible, you accept everything that's in the Bible. How does that not cause you anxiety?
I know.
I mean, if he's saying it's the solution. To me, it would be part of the problem.
The thing is, okay, and one of the reasons why this is close to my heart is I know a whole lot of atheists that will not go to AA meetings just because they use the God word. Now, AA in Minnesota particularly does not push God at all. In fact, it's not cool to talk about Jesus at an AA meeting in Minnesota. And nobody, so we talk about basically a spiritual solution to the alcohol problem is what we talk about. But because it's in there, there are hundreds, probably tens or hundreds of thousands of people that are not getting the help they need because of that fucking God idea, because Christianity has taken over everything in this country. And the people that don't get that you don't have to be religious to sober up in AA are the people that don't get the psychology of dealing with depression and dealing with anxiety and dealing with all drug addiction and alcoholism. They don't get it at all. And there's a whole lot of people in this country that don't fucking get it. And I get it. I've lived it and I get it. And it pisses me off when people come out with things where they say, oh, you need to have Jesus. Granted, if you're a believer and if you totally give yourself over to anything, I could do Thor here, Thor could be the thing that I say, Thor, I can't help myself anymore. I need help. Will you please help me? And as soon as you do that, as soon as you admit that you need help at that deep guttural level, you start to get better. And it's really interesting how that works. But anyway, so
they just told me when I told them I was atheist, they said, just think of God as good, orderly direction.
Yeah. That's
well, I ultimately, I had to do 90 days when I got out of prison as part of my parole. And after I did that, I stopped going to meetings and I haven't had a problem since then. And I've got a couple people on my phone that I can call if I ever needed to. But I couldn't go to myself personally. The only time I thought about using was when I went to the meetings because we're sitting around talking about the shit. So for me, it wasn't all that great. But yeah, a lot of people are helped by it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and they're helped by it because it is the psychology of, I don't know how to explain it, the psychology of admitting that you need help and breaking down to the point where you no longer have any paradigms left in your mind. You're through being stubborn. You'll listen to anything, right? And right at that point, it doesn't matter what the hell happens next. What matters is that you broke down like that. That you actually came to a point in your life where you give up control, or you give up this illusion of control.
Yeah, that was part of the code too that I couldn't buy into this. What was it? It was admitting that there's a higher power, or admitting that. I even said this in a meeting when I spoke one time that I just can't buy into that, admitting you have no power over alcohol, because then you're basically saying alcohol wins. I think the whole idea is to work the program so you do have power over it, and you can decide, choose to decide not to drink it anymore.
Well, if you're an alcoholic, you are powerless over alcohol in the same manner that any human being is powerless over cyanide. Okay, it doesn't say anything about being powerless to help yourself. It doesn't say anything about being powerless to make your life better. It said, you know what? When it comes to alcohol, I can't drink this shit. Because every time I drink this shit, I'm blackout drunk and I'm on a roll. You're probably not an alcoholic, John. So, and if you're an alcoholic, you understand powerless over alcohol very quickly. It's the one thing that everybody understands when they walk in the door. If you're court ordered to it, which AA fucking hates, that the government does this shit, that the government somehow court orders people into Alcoholics Anonymous, they should never do that. We don't want to sign your fucking card every week. We don't want, it's go away until you walk in voluntarily, until you really have a problem with alcohol. You don't get alcohol.
Well, that's kind of the determination I came to, is that I abused alcohol, but I was not an alcoholic. And to me, the proof of it is that shortly after I committed my crime, I was still drinking, smoking pot for a few weeks after that, because my head was all fucked up about having, taking a person's life. But then when, my sister had said to me at one point, you're going to eventually go to court for this, and, they're not going to be too happy with you if you're still drinking and all that. and I, I said, well, yeah, I'm just kind of like messed up in the head, but then that day I stopped, and it wasn't a problem. Like it didn't. I didn't go through withdrawals or any of that shit.
Yeah, I never had DTs ever. I don't know why. Some people don't.
Well, I mean, I'm even talking about not necessarily the DTs, but like even like the psychological
Yeah.
problems. It's
Yeah,
just
you're not
it's time to quit. I better quit.
you're not an alcoholic, so you're not going to understand powerless over alcohol. And you might understand powerless over meth or cocaine if you've ever used that, because almost every human being can become a meth addict or a cocaine addict. Not every human being is going to become an alcoholic.
I'm so glad that I was so poor when I experienced cocaine.
Oh, yes.
And it's so funny. Like I worked in a bar, right, and we'd get some Coke or something on a night, and oh, the Coke's gone. Okay, I'm like, oh, okay, Coke's gone. Fun over. And then like all the other people was like, oh, who can we call? Who can we call? It's 5 a.m. Who can we call and get some more? And I'm like, no, it's gone. Like I'm done. Like, and I remember the last time I bought a little bit of Coke, it was shortly after Chris Farley had died. If you remember who that is.
I do.
And I had bought a quarter or something from somebody in the bar, and I went upstairs and started to chop it up and everything, and I started thinking about Chris Farley, and I was as overweight as him. I'm like, you know what? I don't even want to do this again. And so I fucking folded the bindle back up and went down to the bar. Then found my buddy. I'm like, here, man, I don't even want this. I understand if you don't want to give me my money back. And then I told him, why I had decided that. And he's like, John, like, you do realize Chris Farley, like, probably, he snorted probably an 8-ball that night. And it was like, whatever that other shit is, like, that they mix with Coke, like speed ball or whatever they call it. But
fentanyl or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he, he was a friend, so he did give me my money back. And that was the last time, back in 1999 or something, I ever did any Coke.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Coke's gone. What are we going to do? Oh, wait a minute. I have a car. And then, oh, well, I have a wife. Wonder what I could get for her. It's like, hey, and that toddler. I wonder what I could get for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and then when it comes to your wife, you probably, you just have to rent her out for a couple.
Yeah, rent her out by the hour. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it gets to be. It just gets into your mind, like into my mind, because I'm that addictive nature, to where I cannot stop unless something major stops me. I have to run into an immovable object.
My problem was with food.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was, like, back in the day with the weed, is that I don't know how many hours I wasted in my life trying to score or sitting around waiting for the dude to show up. And then, like, there'd be dry spells where you couldn't get it. And I would just be, go days at a time, weeks at a time, being morally outraged. Like, why the fuck is it again? I can't just walk up to CVS and buy a lid of this shit, like that kind of thing, Yeah. But hey, Immutable in the live chat, I don't know if you noticed, he had asked a while ago if you had talked about the new development.
Yeah, unfortunately, with your questioning, I managed to fuck up my apology letter. So,
well, and the thing is, though, too, I'm kind of.
I should have talked to you backstage.
Oh, you didn't realize we were live yet, even though you're the one that made us live?
No, I knew I realized we were live, and I knew I was doing it because that's just the devil in me. The devil in me just won't let me. But Immutable is the one that thinks that we really should invite D'Angelo back.
Yeah. Well,
Immutable's molded. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to let Immutable know. It's because, Speed talked about that right at the top of the show. And the first, He referred to the apology letter as sincere, and my first question was, well, but Speed, if it was sincere, why did Immutable have to edit it? And, which and I'm kind of hurt that you didn't tell me about the apology letter beforehand, because I would have wanted you to add at the end, and John just wanted you to know that he apologizes for nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, it was highly edited. It ended up being about 3 words, I think, by the time we got done. So, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like, the thing is, do we rip on Otangelo? Yeah. Is he a little thin-skinned?
Yeah. Yeah, way
You know,
too thin skin.
I mean, it's just like, you're talking about what we were talking about beforehand about the, different terminology and stuff like that. Like, if you have a rapport with somebody or in a certain context, like, there's certain words you just don't go near, but like, you can make jokes about racial tropes with, like Benny, he makes a lot of Jew jokes himself.
Oh, yeah.
Tongue in cheek, and or I've made jokes alluding to those tropes before and not really, meaning any harm by it and eliciting a laugh from the person it's directed at. But, I mean, Otangelo, if he was so sure about what he believes about all that, wouldn't he be more confident in his position than to get all butthurt by someone making a joke about it? I mean, like, can you imagine, if you were calling, John Maddock, he's a young Earth creationist too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you were calling him out on his belief about creation or making like a joke about it or something, I can't imagine him not still staying there and arguing his point, because
Right. Insulting Maddox just gets him excited, just
right,
gets him going.
right. I mean, Otangelo just seems like, I don't know, like so butthurt whenever
I think he sincerely believes in his mind that he has somehow, as a machine designer, that he has somehow realized some great truth about science that nobody else gets. He really believes that in his heart. And I guess they all kind of do in a way. They all think they're so fucking smart. And where their smart comes from is they stop by the Bible first on their way to the science class. And they got indoctrinated so deeply in that they can't possibly see how stupid they sound when they talk about genetics. And I mean, they sound fucking stupid. Listening to Nephilim last night, just complete idiocy. And he's going on and on. Anyway, Barry came at him from a kind of probably the wrong angle, and I don't know. I think I'm going to, I reached out to Barry. We're probably going to have a talk.
So, hey, Ben, did you delete that message or did YouTube?
Oh,
because it's in the chat. It's still in the chat.
No,
On StreamYard, but it says message retracted.
Which one?
Well, he had said, I don't know, like, invite him back in. Speaking of Otangelo, invite him back in, but he has to wear a hat saying, "I am always wrong." and then,
that's a good comment. You shouldn't delete that one.
No, that's not the one that got deleted, because then Jerry said, "That's not helpful, Ben, LOL." And then after that, by Jerry, Ben posted, "Or send him a shock collar, and everything he says, every time he says something goofy, send a few bolts his way." And and I have the pop-out chat from YouTube on one side of my screen, and it's message retracted, but it's still in the StreamYard thing. He said, all right, and I see what the typo was, because he meant to say, and every time he says something goofy, and he typed everything,
Oh.
And so he didn't like the fact he had left a typo.
Let's talk about that. His purpose is to bring others to God. Yeah. And that is everybody's purpose, because it's like they have this little beetle in a box. They have this little tiny nugget of truth that no one else can see, and they want to share it with the world. And it's just, they just don't get that they're batshit crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did I call him crazy?
yeah.
Yeah, I did what you told me not to do. I'm sorry.
But, yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Like, so he designs machines or builds machines, and so he sees a similarity in certain biology. So then, of course, that's a machine. And I work on machines, so I know what machines are. So if I say a cell's a machine, I know what I'm talking about. And that's just like a very convoluted line of logic.
Yeah.
A line of logic born of pareidolia.
Yep. But I have a new theme song for Otangelo Immutable. You probably haven't heard it yet if you weren't in there, and I kind of like it. And I think Otangelo's going to like it too if he ever comes back. I'm so excited to play it for him.
Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, thy leaves are so.
Except somebody has to sing Otangelo over Christmas tree. So,
Tangelo, oh Tangelo, oh Tangelo, why are you so wrong about everything?
Anyway, I guess I'm sorry, Immutable. I'm not being a good boy today. And why would you think I ever would? I mean, why would anybody ever think I would? Anyway, so what else happened? So we had that talk last night. Nephilim Free did his evolution experiment, and Andrew was there, and Andrew still doesn't know what the fuck his evolution experiment is. So Nephilim keeps putting up these streams where he's going to do this experiment on evolutionists, right? And nobody can quite figure out what in the hell he's talking about.
It's probably all the whistling in his speech.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it is. What happened to it?
Can I throw like a curveball in here real quick?
Yeah, we can curve any way we want.
Just because I asked Knock about this. I wonder if you had heard about it. Did you hear about the crazy shit with Kellyanne Conway?
No.
Well, a while back, her daughter had posted this video where her mom was in her bedroom raging at her over some shit. And then now apparently, because she was like claiming abuse by her mom, I think more like psychological abuse, but well, so now that they've been feuding, and this girl's 16 years old, apparently Kellyanne Conway found some
boot camp.
No, Kellyanne Conway found some nude pictures of her daughter on her daughter's phone, and Kellyanne Conway posted them.
What?
That's what's going on Twitter. I mean,
that can't be real.
Her daughter is one of the people that's been talking about it, and it was on some place. It was some other platform I hadn't heard of before. But
well, isn't mommy going to go to jail for a little while for doing that?
I mean, if it's true, I mean, there's also people that have suggested that her mom, or that the girl herself did it just to make her mom look bad.
Put her mom in jail?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I suppose that would
but
be.
yeah, I mean, if you see this video of Kellyanne Conway, and I mean, in all parents, sometimes your kid pushes you over the edge, and some parents will,
oh yeah,
you'll have an argument or whatever. But I mean, this was just beyond the pale, man. She was like being nuts to her daughter, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
it's kind of like she was being Kellyanne Conway was being to her daughter the way, I don't know if you remember years ago. There was phone messages that were leaked from Alec Baldwin to his daughter.
Yeah.
Where he's saying horrible shit about her, and it was kind of like that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I mean, it was pretty over the top. I mean, I remember one day my twins pushed me over the edge I had to get them ready for, I had to get them ready for daycare or school every morning, or day. I think it was school, and every goddamn morning, and they would just. My kids were so ADD; they'd be singing and throwing cereal around, and I'd be trying to do things. One day, I just started yelling at them, and they just sat there like they'd never heard me yell before, and they were just.
And then when you got done, did they burst out into laughter?
No, they were good. They were really good for about 2 weeks, I think. It was like it lasted about 2 weeks. It was amazing. But yeah, I just lost it on them, and they just weren't used to it. There was another time when they were about 7 or 8 when I lost it, and they were really, holy shit. I probably lost it about maybe, I think 3 times with my kids. But man, sometimes they just push you over the edge. I mean, you just can't handle it anymore. You just got to start raging at them. It's like, I don't know. Oh shit, man. Kids will test your spirit in many ways. Especially if you got 2 of the little fuckers,
Yeah.
Identical. Like you go to the grocery store, you used to have to write checks at the grocery store, and you got each of you have a kid in your hand, right? So you can't write a check. Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I decided long ago that just coming in contact with my siblings' offspring was enough for me.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, so I don't know. I don't know what else I got going on today.
Yeah, I'm not being much help here either.
Yeah. I really want to do that paper on is the cell a machine. I got through the first part of it. And there's some very interesting things that we need to teach people about proteins and how cells are not a machine. Anything but. Give me a link for your YouTube discussion at AP. What? SFT? Okay. Okay. By the way, Top Dog Shaddock is going to be talking to SFT. Of course. Guess what channel? Guess what channel it's going to be on?
MDD.
SFT's channel. It's always at SFT's channel. Anyway, that is at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so 7 p.m. Central. Top Dog's going to be there, and we might even do an after show on that one.
No, he says that he hasn't gotten a link yet.
Yeah, so Standing hasn't sent a link. Let's see if Standing put one up. Oh, let me see if I can find one.
What is? Again, I'd never seen this before, but in the last couple of days when I've seen her in live chat, Stupid Horror Energy, or maybe it's always been a response by her that I just never noticed before, but she's saying your mom an awful lot.
Your mom, yeah. I do that all the time to my kids. Your mom jokes. My kids famously made a your mom joke to me at my mom's funeral.
Oh, wow.
I love my kids. They have the darkest sense of humor that you'll ever run across. I mean, do not take my kids to a funeral. It's like, there's some people that you don't want to take to the bar. You don't want to take my kids to a funeral. They will think of something funny to say. It was funny as hell too.
Do you remember the old Mary Tyler Moore episode when the clown died?
No.
And they were at the funeral and she just couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah. That's it.
The clown was, his catch line was a little song, a little dance, a little seltzer down your pants.
Yeah. Okay, so I put a link up to Top Dogs to Standing for Truth does have the channel up on his site, or the show on his site. And it is going to be, I don't know, does all life share a common ancestor? Good luck, Top Dog. Anyway.
Well, but I think they can agree on, well, no, you're saying all life. I mean, if it was do human beings share a common ancestor? They would both say yes to that question, but SFT's explanation would be Adam and Eve.
Well, down south, there's a lot of common ancestry going on.
Well, yeah, not going backwards, but going forward.
Both parents.
Yeah. Like I always like to say to people, like I have a few pejorative statements I like to use when I'm chatting with somebody that we're at one another's throats, is to imply that they're inbred. That so when you introduce your wife and your sister to people, is there only one woman standing next to you?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh,
So we have a Danny and a Red Fang now, huh?
ooh, this ought to be good.
What up?
What up?
Me and Speed, we already did our work. The rest of the show belongs to two of you.
It shows you two. So,
Oh, fun.
yeah. So why don't I have a edit mic settings on you? Oh, there it is. I got to turn you down a little bit. I had to turn you up the other day. Now I got to turn you down.
So Danny,
Who, me?
Yeah.
you're a little loud.
Yeah, I was fighting with Gavin last night. He kept on messing with my mic.
So Danny, tell Red Fang why he is so philosophically wrong.
I don't know Red Fang.
Well, but come on, man.
We've talked once before on Praise's channel.
Well, right, but I'm just saying you're another person that's not Danny, so inevitably there are things that Danny disagrees with you on.
Probably.
Oh, let's see here.
Well, I hear you're going around YouTube to different channels and trashing us atheists, man.
Yep.
Who, me?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, no, Danny.
Oh, Danny?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah, I think
crazy.
like I'd sooner. It's not so much atheism as it is naturalism, but like I think like Christianity is probably, you can find a version of Christianity that's coherent, but I don't think naturalism could be coherent. So I agree more with Christians than naturalists.
On what? You agree with them more on what topic?
That's because he'd be crazy. He'd be
Almost
crazy.
everything, like like that. I said that like you could construe God as like fallible and not all knowing, but non-physical, and you could then make sense of Jesus's attributes after that. I'd probably reject the Trinity and all of that as well. But the point is that I could find some coherent version of Christianity, but I don't think there's anything coherent about naturalism.
Say that again. You kind of broke up on me.
Yeah, I just think that there's like a heretical understanding of Christianity that might be coherent, but I don't think naturalism is coherent. So that's typically why, I don't know. I mean, sometimes when I first came here, I was talking about why design arguments don't work,
I'm flabbergasted that you would say naturalism isn't coherent.
Oh, it's far from it. There's no such thing as coherence in naturalism, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could be. Well, the only person I could be more wrong than you about that is the Christians about creationists about evolution. I think it's pretty amazing that you would come to that conclusion after reading all of the contemporary information out there about the mind and consciousness.
Well, it's not okay. He's not surprised that some people might come to that conclusion. I just want to be clear on this. If I'm reading Speed right, he's fucking mind blown that you in particular would come to that conclusion. I mean, if naturalism is incoherent, then you are eschewing or disregarding almost every piece of knowledge that science has discovered. Or
Well, it's not a scientific issue. I mean, 50% of philosophers are naturalists. The rest, 25% of them are non-naturalists. 25% of them don't take a position, right? So it's far from settled.
well, no, I think it's I think it's settled for the vast majority of humanity. I think, but it's just that philosophers have a tendency to hash and rehash things, and then when you talk about possibilities and what could be, you guys are more interested not just in what is, but what could be or how it might be different. The state of affairs might be different, and I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah, we use possibility to factor in, we use modal logic. Yeah, we do, to like get to how the world is.
I mean, yeah, because okay, so we haven't known each other that long, but I recognize you as a highly intelligent person. But to be honest, I mean, anybody that makes the statement, you're not saying you disregard naturalism, but there are people out there that they aren't making the claim you are that it's incoherent. But by saying it's incoherent, you're kind of implying that it is something you don't adhere to. And if people are questioning naturalism,
I think it should be. I think it should be dropped like a hot potato.
So half the philosophers, twice as many as any other perspective that you have, adhere to naturalism, and you think it should be dropped. Is that kind of like marching on Washington when a little more than half the country votes for one candidate, and the other almost half says that he's really not the president? Is that the same kind of idea?
I don't see the equivalence.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well, I thought it was a good analogy.
Why do I keep hearing what sounds like a lighter?
A click?
I mean, I don't know. Like,
was that it?
I don't know if it was click or I don't know. Like maybe because the reason I'm asked is because I know you quit smoking a long time ago. So
I don't even know how to make a lighter noise. I don't know. I don't have a lighter around.
There it was again. Sounded like a big lighter click.
Like that?
No, it was sounded like a lighter, like the sound of a bic being flicked.
Oh, when was the last time you had a cigarette?
Me?
Yeah.
7 weeks ago.
Okay. You're starting to hallucinate lighters.
No, I'm not having a hallucination.
You're hallucinating.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Andrew. Do join, Andrew. You got the link, Andrew? Because I'm really tempted to go off on Danny about naturalism, and I don't have time today because we have a thing at 4:45, right?
Yeah.
That means I got to get out of here.
Yeah, I have to go to class. I have class from 3 to 4:30. So
Okay.
So to myself personally, I don't even think that it's an issue that needs to be addressed. It's such a wacky concept.
Yeah, it seems like it's very intuitive. It really seems like it's true or something.
Well, it isn't a matter of it seems like it's true. There's so much evidence that naturalism is the state of affairs that to claim that it's incoherent could only make sense to a philosopher, I think.
Well, to somebody with a religion, like if you
there are a lot of scientists that are not naturalists.
If you said, I mean, if you imagine things about your mind or consciousness or about intention and things like that, and you make that a religion without really understanding what you're doing, then yeah, naturalism might seem suspect. I mean, if you walk, but I mean, from a day to day, Danny, you're using naturalism right now. Are you driving in your car right now? Oh, Danny left, disappeared. Did I insult Danny?
I don't think so.
No, I think he blanked out. But anyway, try not using naturalism while you're driving in traffic.
Well, he's like 10 minutes away from having a class, so that might have something.
Yeah. Yep.
But,
like you, if I may chime in, you can't use naturalism, or you have to use naturalism for your daily life. Like people make those kinds of assumptions all the time.
Yeah, you can't not use naturalism because naturalism is the only thing that works. It's what your mind came up in. It's what your mind realized. But then human brains have this other capacity, imagining things, that sort of thing. And humans tend to get all confused about what's in their own brains. Humans are not smart enough. Okay, humans are smart enough to have this brain with extra cortical loops, but they're not smart enough to understand what their mind is.
Apparently, the only time that it's right to set aside naturalism.
Sorry, I disconnected, guys. No, I don't know what it means to say that to use naturalism. I think that's incoherent.
So anyway, to finish my sentence there.
So you're not using.
Hold on. I was in the middle of a sentence. Come on.
Oh goddamn! I'm sorry, John.
No, you're all right. But I was just trying to make a dumbass joke from the beginning of the show. Is the only time you're right to set aside naturalism is apparently if you have depression. Then you're supposed to rely on God.
Yeah, according to Bill Morgan.
Yeah.
Spooky old tree. The Baron.
So, Speed, can I address Danny's point with a question?
Yeah.
So Danny, are you an idealist or like or I guess like when you're driving your car, or let's say you're getting into your car, for instance, do you assume that your car is gonna work the same way it worked yesterday?
I don't think I assume that. I think I know that, but maybe that's what you meant.
How do you know that?
Yes. Inductively, I suppose. My background information, my background and beliefs.
Right. Well, in order to do induction, you kind of have to assume naturalism, right?
That's not true.
Okay, how so?
Well, you can get probabilistic accounts. Like, if you fall down 2 flights of stairs, you might break. You might break your leg, right? But you also might not. And you could adjust,
How is that addressing the scenario that he painted, though?
The point is that it's not regular. Like, it's not you can use inductive reasoning and not accept that there's a regularity to whatever kind of presumed pattern.
Okay, can you give a scenario? Because I think induction does rely on regularity, on patterns.
Wait, do you think there's regularity of falling flights of stairs and breaking bones?
There tends to be. But like I'm also saying that like when you're driving your car.
How many bones do you break when you fall down 1 flight of stairs?
It depends.
Exactly. It's not regular, is it?
Oh well, there.
What the heck? Oh my
Holy
God!
shit, that's a bad argument.
I mean, that just like.
No.
But is the probability higher to break some bones or a bone if you fall down a flight of stairs as opposed to using the elevator?
It depends on who you are. Depends on
No,
what
it
animal
doesn't.
it is.
I'm like, listen. No, you didn't listen. You didn't hear my question. Okay, I'm saying, and you're right. There might be different factors to it, but which is a higher probability to break bones? Falling down a flight of stairs or using the elevator?
Typically, I didn't. You're right. I didn't hear you out. Given my experiences in the elevators that I'm accustomed to, it's more likely for me to break my bones on a flight of stairs than an elevator.
Okay.
But the point is that doesn't assume naturalism, right? The Andrew's conflating the uniformity of nature and inductive reasoning.
Like I'm saying that in order to do induction, you have to assume that the past is going to be governed by the same laws as the present, essentially.
Look, it's true that the way we understand natural laws and theories and models might be through induction, but it doesn't mean that therefore every inductive inference is one that relates to laws or regularity. That doesn't follow.
Okay. I'm not quite understanding the distinction.
I'm not either. I mean, if you're
Look, you're
basing,
saying that
if you're-
inductive
wait a
reasoning
minute,
is
wait a
indispensable.
minute, wait. I open my
You're
mouth
not
first.
following. Let me explain.
Well, but here's why I'm not following. Because if you are going to predict what will happen in the future, like Andrew's example of, do you believe your car is going to work the same today as it did yesterday, then you're definitely depending on naturalism, because you are using the past to decide what's going to come in the future. And if things aren't in, what happened?
Just to elaborate on what you were saying, John, I think that in order to do induction, you have to assume that there's regularity of some kind, that there are laws, like the uniformity of laws and the way they act might change. Like, that's a conclusion. Like uniformitarianism, it didn't have to be uniform, but we assume that the laws are going to stay the same. Just how they apply is going to be different, I guess, if that kind of makes sense.
Well, I mean, it does, and I can also kind of understand where Danny's coming from, because, like, okay, in the classic example of induction, you're going down the road and you go by 100 white houses, so then you assume the next house I go by is going to be white, or you see 1,000 yellow swans, so all swans are white. And that's not necessarily true, either of those scenarios. And so if it's the swan thing, then you can't deny it's part of naturalism. But if it's the house example, well, and I guess you could loosely say that has nothing to do with naturalism, except for the fact that, everything that the houses are made out of comes from nature, and you're traveling down the road, which is I mean, I just don't see how you get away from naturalism when you talk
right.
about it.
I would say you have to assume naturalism until you're shown naturalism doesn't work. For instance, like you're saying, like in your house example, which is a good example, actually. You can say, okay, I'm going to assume that the next house is going to be white until the next house shows itself, basically. Like I guess I can kind of see how that might be also termed inference. I guess, but for each particular scenario, I'm saying you have to make that assumption. It doesn't matter what the past scenario was. You have to make that inference / assumption, I guess, is what I'm saying.
So let's see. He said that when you fall down the stairs, you can't predict how many bones you're going to break. But that is just a complete fucking mess of an argument.
Sorry, I'm back. I disconnected.
Okay. Do you have any doubt,
Okay.
Danny? Do you have any doubt, Danny, that when you fall down the stairs and you say you break 3 bones, tibia, whatever, and ulna and radius?
Well,
do you have any
it's equivalent to,
okay, hang on a second. Do you have any doubt that there's a naturalistic explanation for that?
No,
that
but I don't think my doubt matters.
Okay, hang on a second. Do you have any doubt that if we were able to track every single movement, every force, every impact, that we could calculate which bones you would break?
In those particular instances, sure, it might be reducible to laws, but there are no laws of falling downstairs.
What the hell would you need a law of falling downstairs for? You have all these other
I don't
laws.
understand. I don't think it's a practical question. It's not a practical question.
Okay, so what the fuck did you bring that example up for? That has nothing to do
The
with
point is that you can use inductive reasoning. You can use inductive reasoning to come to some inference without establishing laws of the thing that you've inferred to.
Well, you don't need laws at all. Most mammals live without ever thinking about physics and laws.
I don't know what. Look, it's not a practical concern.
But do you have any doubt that raccoons are subject to the same physical?
What does my doubt have to do with the epistemology?
Do you have any doubt that raccoons are subject to the same physical rules that we are when they fall out of trees?
Well, their bodies, maybe. If you think they have a mental life, then no.
I mean, I'm confused. Like, what does your doubt?
Okay.
Wait. What does your doubt have to do with the epistemology? This whole conversation is born out of your doubt.
No, it's born out of my knowledge.
Do
because you say naturalism is incoherent, so it can't.
Yeah,
be
it's false.
knowledge.
But I haven't
Do you-
presented an argument, so I don't see why you would say that it's that it's false.
So you don't believe that raccoons have a mental life, do you?
I'm not so convinced, although I don't think it's a really it's not a thing that we can reason about, really.
Son, you are so confused.
So can I clarify something? So which naturalism are we talking about exactly? Like, are we talking
You're right.
about?
It is true that naturalism is ambiguous, but a typical form of naturalism has to do with dispositions, causal dispositions of things, which involve laws, natural laws, or uniformity, as you were alluding to. So if we
you're
think
talking about methodological naturalism.
no, methodological naturalism applies to like a particular kind of scientific endeavor, right? You could be a Christian and accept methodological naturalism with respect to your scientific practices.
Right.
Okay.
Well, to me, all methodological naturalism amounts to is that there's no intentional explanations for the observations that you have or you're having.
Danny, is there any phenomenon that you can think of that doesn't have a natural explanation?
Yeah, minds, I don't think have natural explanations. I think that also.
How do you know?
Well, right, you think that they don't, but what I'm saying, okay, so for any phenomenon that we can point to a cause for, is there any phenomenon that occurs that we have a causation for, know what the causation is, that is not natural?
Yes.
What?
My intention to have a conversation.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Your illusions about your own mind, which you get from what? Epistemologically, where did you get the idea of your mind?
Well, I think that intentional states are normative states.
It doesn't matter if you think that. Where did you get those ideas? How did you come to that? Where did you come to this, knowing your mind and knowing what your mind is and being so sure of what your mind is?
It could be self-knowledge, perceptual knowledge, inferential knowledge.
But where's the place that you did all those things?
Where?
Yeah.
As in, like, where's my mind?
I'm not saying where's your mind. I'm asking all these
Where did
determinations
you
came to. Where did they occur?
Where did you do all this epistemological work?
Oh, when did I study this stuff? Is
Where
that
did
what
you
you're
do
asking?
No, it's a simpler question than that. Where did the thought you put in to the solution to the problem you're posing, where did all that thinking occur?
Where in my mind, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, suppose a computer had done that same work, a really big computer, really well programmed, and the computer came to the conclusion that it was basically in its mind, that the computer had a mind in its logic gates. Don't you think the computer would come to kind of the same, would use the same epistemology that you used? It would use the
Do you distinguish a mechanism and an agent?
What's that?
Do you distinguish an agent and a mechanism?
An agent and a mechanism. No, I don't believe in agents.
You don't believe in agents? I think that's just self-defeating because you are an agent that is believing something.
It doesn't matter what I think I am, or what
There
I
is no
feel
I.
like I am,
There's no
or
thinking.
it doesn't matter what intuition I have of what I am.
There's no I. There's no I.
There is no I. There is no I.
Do you believe that?
Yes.
So I believe that. Say that. Is that a true statement?
I believe that. That's
So there's
how
an
we
I.
communicate. That's how we communicate.
Well, the point is that it means nothing if there's no I.
What does it mean? Nothing.
Because if you accept some kind of correspondence theory of truth, right? Like something like the tree outside my door has green leaves, right? That's true if and only if it corresponds to the state of affair in which there's a tree outside, right? Now, if you say that the statement that I believe is true, and then saying that there's nothing that corresponds to the I, no agent that corresponds to the believing thing, right? Then that's self-defeating. It's false.
I think you're putting a little too much faith in that truth.
How is this a response? Is this a
In the
serious
idea of
response?
truth. That is a serious response. Okay. I believe, communicate something between me and you.
Yep.
Two agents
Wait, are there agents or are
Don't
there no agents?
exist.
Are there agents or are there no agents?
Two organisms chirping at each other. We're two organisms chirping at each other, and somehow, in our own minds, we come up with the idea that okay, I'm an agent, and I just said I, and that I believe basically means something to you, and you, because you are operating with the same currency, with the same biology, you happen to take that input and have the same sort of like there's a pattern. That is
I didn't understand you. Look, are you saying there are agents or no agents?
Wait. Here, that's what I want to address. Is I think you guys were talking past each other. I think that when you first brought up agents, Danny, that Speed thought you meant like an outside agent that causes things to happen, as opposed to human beings are an agent. Oh, you didn't? You don't believe that human beings are agents?
Yeah, that's insane to me. But he just said that there are agents, so it seems like very contradictory. I don't know what you're saying, Speed.
Well, I can't help it if this language is as fucked up as it is.
Well,
Well, then just ask me I'll tell you what I mean by the terms. You just look. You should do what I do to you. When I say a word that doesn't make sense to you, just ask, what do you mean by that, and I'll tell you.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Like when he says "I" in a sentence, you know exactly who he's talking about, right?
He's talking about an agent himself.
Right. Well, but forget the fucking agent thing. He's talking about himself. I mean, it's just a communication.
Look,
You know,
the point is that communication implies an intention. Like computers don't communicate; they signal.
We have two chirpy little mammals chirping at each other, and inside the little mammals, okay, they have all these ideas about what's going on, about the illusion of the mind, the illusion of consciousness, the illusion of agents, and we as observers cannot understand what the fuck they're chirping about. Okay, us trying to understand what they're chirping about, that's naturalism. That's what's true.
Yeah, that's all incoherent. You contradicted yourself there.
The chirping, no, I don't.
I can show you the contradiction. You just said the mind is an illusion, right? Which means that it doesn't exist. And then you're making all these...
He didn't say it was an illusion. He said people have those ideas.
That's not what he said. Listen back to the recording. Listen to the back of the recording. He used the word illusion.
He did not say the mind is an illusion. He said that we have those thoughts.
Well, I think
the mind is another chirpy noise we make at each other.
Is it an illusion?
When we chirp about mind, yeah.
What did you?
Well,
okay, so look, John.
No,
look,
wait a
don't
minute.
be.
No, I retract that.
Yeah,
illusion,
you see, John. Look, this is
illusion,
seems so motivated to me.
Shut the fuck up. Illusion is not a very good word unless you really understand what it means. Okay, if I have an illusion, what it means is that something out there is not matching my senses for the moment, and then I realize it, and I say, "Oh, that was an illusion," because now I know better because I looked more carefully. Okay, it's an illusion. So and I guess we could apply that to mind because we think we have a mind. I think I have this thing going on that nobody else has. And it's inside of me, and I call it a mind. But then when I think more carefully about it, I realize no. Nothing like that fucking exists.
John, does that make any sense to you?
There is no generalization you can make about what's happening inside of me right now.
What he said doesn't even matter. Naturalism doesn't matter anymore, right? With respect, he's just contradicting himself.
Nope. Well, no, I mean, here's what I'll say about that is that because I've talked to Speed about this before, we have different concepts of what the mind is and where it is and all that. I mean, and you've disagreed with him too. I mean, but I can't specifically say he's wrong because, I mean,
look, the point is that if I say X exists and then at the same time say X doesn't exist, which is not what he explicitly said, it doesn't matter what he means by X. He contradicted himself. So if it's the case that he said anything like that,
you're missing the point.
You're equivocating.
You're missing the point. I am from Antipode, and I'm an Antipodian, and I arrived here. And I learned your language, and I have to use this fucking language, but it has really no meaning to me. When you say mind or I or whatever, I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. I mean, I kind of get it because I know the science behind it, so I kind of get what's going on here. And so I have to use what you think are contradictory. The problem is that your language itself is what's fucking contradictory when you start talking about mind and agent and all of that stuff, because you don't know what the hell is going on because you're just a chirpy little mammal. Chirpy mammal.
Well, I don't. I don't. It just doesn't make very much sense to me. Maybe you can ask me, or I can tell you what I
No.
mean by the mind, and then that would clarify things.
Oh, tell me.
Yeah, we need to focus our goal to understand a description.
Were you going to say something, Arthur? And
Oh no, I was just saying, Leo.
okay.
Hello.
No, I just take a mind to be a point of view. That's like the idea is that a point of view implies views or beliefs. So there's something to distinguish here, right? The thing that is viewing and that which is being viewed. Oh, nice. Is that an iPad, or the Pro, or
great.
the
iPad Mini. It's
Mini?
actually a little bit bigger than what I thought. I think it's actually just really good size, not too big, not too small.
I actually got the
Oh, wow.
large one, and I didn't like it, and I went down to the smaller one.
This one, the iPad Mini.
No, I went to the smaller Pro, but I had
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
gigantic Pro,
Okay,
and
all
yeah,
right.
the one
it
that's
was too
practically
big.
a laptop screen.
All right, new laptop, awesome. Okay, now please flesh out what you were saying, where you said something that just made my head explode.
He's going to tell me what the mind is.
Mind is a point of view. Like,
yes,
One point of view.
right.
Fine.
So look,
Well,
there. Go
Can I
ahead.
try to steel man your position?
Yeah, that's fine. It's probably less sounds less aggressive if you say it, Leo, since you agree with them.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it.
Or
Steel
not.
Man. That Danny thinks that the mind is a collection of. I'm trying to think of the next word to use. Like, I don't really want to use the word things because there's a more specific word, and I can't remember what the word is. Intentions, I think, a collection of intentions, something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of vocabulary here, but it's something called intentional states, which are
Yeah.
okay. So they're basically two mental states. Okay, and then the qualitative states, which are not true or false states, right? So like what things are like. You know, a lot of dualists will go and argue for why qualitative states are not material. I don't give those arguments. Okay, so you can, that's a lot of what Daniel Dennett responds to is the problem of qualia or qualitative states, right? I'm not talking about that in terms of my defenses for dualism, right? Although I think there could be an avenue there, but I just don't take it. Then there's the other side, right, which is intentional states. Now, that is not to be confused with intention and intention with an S. Okay, intentional states are states classically defined as of or about something, right?
Mhm.
So I have beliefs about you, right? I have desires to do things. I have desires about things, right? Of things. I have desires of things, right? I have beliefs of things. So AKA beliefs and desires. Now, I take desires to be a subset of belief, but not all beliefs are desires, right? So there is a practical distinction there. Now, my argument centers on the nature of an intentional state, right? As being a kind of view, right? So if I have beliefs, they're beliefs of things, right, that are not of me, right? So now I could have beliefs about myself. That's true as well. Like I can have self-knowledge, and that is a sticky kind of chapter. And let me bracket those things first, okay? But the point is that a point of view is going to have a set of intentional states, which are views about how things are, what we take to be true. And so that kind of divides the world in a way where there's this thing that is viewing and there's that which is being viewed, right? And so that's basically the mind, is the thing that is viewing, the thing that is perceiving, the thinking thing. And then there's the other things that are the about, right? My beliefs about the tree. Well, there's the tree in the world, right? And my belief about the tree is trying to get at how the tree is, something like that, right?
Okay, Molecular Alchemy asks, do you consider humans animals?
Well, it depends on what you mean by animals, but I think usually yes.
Okay.
Right? There's
So
two senses of the word animal.
Okay, leading to the discussion of whether or not intentional states exist in other organisms.
Oh,
Do they?
I think that's ultimately a perceptual thing, not a thing we can reason to. I don't think we can reason to that. Now,
Why is that?
basically, because of rule following concerns, this is Wittgenstein's rule following paradox, that behaviors are underdetermined with respect to certain rules, and I take now, and then Kripke basically argues, Saul Kripke argues that intentions can be understood in terms of rules, and so every observation you make is going to be either consistent with some kind of rule or intention, or a myriad, or inconsistent with a myriad of other intentions. So you're not really going to be able to know an intentional state from just looking at the state in which conforms to it or does not conform to it. That's basically the idea. So yeah, it's perceptual, right? Yeah, that's the best way to go. Stupid Whore Energy is probably one of the few that actually understand the argument. I was really impressed that when she gave my argument, she realized that it's an argument against the existence of God, and it is, right? Because if intentional, it cuts both ways. My argument cuts really deeply into naturalism, but also cuts into God. So that's why I'm kind of like all over the place. But yeah, so if you were to refute my argument, one of the things you could do is think that intentional states are non-normative, but I think there are big problems with that.
Wait, which naturalism are we talking about again?
Just natural. There's really only one type of naturalism. Methodological naturalism is not a worldview or an ideology.
Well,
there's another kind, metaphysical naturalism.
Well, metaphysical and philosophical naturalism are the same thing. The idea that the natural world is all which exists.
Yeah, but they're just so you know, on a side note, this is just like purely, empirical. Okay. I'm giving an empirical statement that people develop really weird views of naturalism, like
yes,
Strauss, like they do. So now I'm just using. We talked about this already, right? Like that, if it's governed by models, laws, and theories that are ultimately somehow exceptionalists, right? Then I think that thing is going to be a natural thing, but it's not. It's kind of hard to pin down exactly what a physical thing is. I think aside from that construal.
So, but just so that I understand you correctly, when you use the term normative, what exactly are you meaning by that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, something that's normative presents an ought. Okay, so if it's normative, it establishes relations such as right and wrong, good and bad, failure and success, even truth and falsity. So, for instance, let's just take the simplest example. I desire to drink water. That is a reason to drink water. Desires are reasons, and if I have a reason to drink water, I should drink water. I think in our previous discussion, Leo, you distinguished between should and ought. I'm not aware of any such distinction, so maybe one day you can elaborate on that distinction. But the idea is that the desires are normative because they present an ought or a commitment to do something. So that's what I mean.
Why would you say that has problems for naturalism?
Because they're prescriptive as opposed to descriptive. Now, presumably, if you're talking about the natural world, you're describing how it is. You're not talking about how it should be, right? So, I don't know if Leo disconnected. I don't want to talk about this if Leo's disconnected.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You froze. So
even if I freeze, usually I can still hear what's going on in the room.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So the point is that when we talk about how the world is, presumably that's distinguished from how the world should be, right? Because the world might be true that the world should be a certain way, but it might actually not be that way, right? And that's essentially the problem. That as far as science goes and the natural, it's talking about how the world is, not how the world should be. So if it's the case that desires,
what does that mean? What is the ontological nature of ought?
The ontological, you mean the meaning?
The nature. What is it? What do you think this ought thing is? Some sort of great
reasons. Essentially reasons.
What?
If I have a reason to save a drowning child, I should save the drowning child.
Reasons. Okay, so now we got to go on that hole and figure out what a reason is.
Well,
kind of a set of beliefs.
Do you have a reason to talk to me?
That's not going to solve.
I ask myself that question every time I'm in a stream.
So if you understood what I said, then you understand what a reason is. Look, just because
Okay.
you like, the point is that if I should be muted in your
But you're not
stream,
really defining ought for me. You're just popping up other words that are in the same wheelhouse.
Okay,
There are other chirpy noises that mammals make at each other. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm from another planet. I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. I understand the brain is as a physical thing, and brain states as physical things, and beliefs are like collections of neural plates and nets. And that is what I operate
okay,
on.
then I'll
When I
just give
say
you the
I am
syllogism.
referring to myself as an organism, I'm pointing sort of back here at this particular blob of mammal. I don't find a problem with that. I think that's a really good word, good communication.
Look. Do you want? I'll just give you the syllogism since you don't know what ought means. Do you know what desires are?
Do I know what desires are? Yeah, same thing. Basically, juices squirting up from your limbic system, lighting up certain parts of your cortex. That's a desire.
Okay, so when you say that you have a desire to meet our 4:45 date to talk about philosophy and math, that's what you mean?
I'm not so sure if I have that desire anymore. But
Are you
but
upset?
Anyway, yeah,
Because
we
if
can
you're
say
upset,
that.
then we should just dissolve the conversation. That way,
Yeah,
we're chilled out by 4:45.
No, I'm making a joke, Danny. Fucking lighten up.
I can't. I don't look. I just met you this month. I think. How long have I known you guys?
Well,
I
you
barely
better
know y'all.
you better understand how dry I can be. I can
Well,
be very dry.
I care a lot about, I care a lot about not ostracizing people.
Yeah.
Because of my aggression, but because I am being aggressive right now. I don't want, and also if I really want to, if my goal is to convince you, then we shouldn't be. Either of us should not be emotional. It's not even convincing. Actually, I'm more interested in just you understanding me. There are a lot of things that I understand that I don't accept.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the network of things that you've built up, like oughts and normative and mind and consciousness and all that. And I'm coming at it from a pretty alien position. So it's going to take a lot of fleshing out, and you're going to have a lot of patience with the alien. Because
It
the
took me
alien
about-
doesn't understand how fucking weird you humans
It took
are.
me about 8 months to understand this argument. I got only help from one friend. Well, actually, I guess that doesn't factor. It took me a long time to understand everything, and still, in fact, I'm still reading about it. But it's I can send you a paper that's actually summarizes the book that has the whole view, but it's
What's the
still
name?
very dense, right? It's 17 pages, so it's not as bad as you would think. But it is. You can ask. At least you can get like, okay, I remember this part in the paper. That way.
Who wrote the paper, and what is it? What are some
Akil
words?
Bilgrami. He wrote he wrote a summary on his book.
How
And
do you?
he,
Okay, AKIL. Is that
I'm
Akil?
gonna link it. Don't worry. I'll make it.
Okay. Are you linking it in private chat? Oh, you fucking.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna put it in private chat. Just read the first 17 pages. You can read on. But there are two philosophers that respond to him, and then he gives a reply.
I think
Okay.
I downloaded it already, didn't I?
There's the book. Remember, this is the summary of the book. That way, you don't have to do all the work in reading the book because the book is fairly dense.
Okay.
It's not fun to read. It takes me a long time to get through a page. Okay, so I put it
I'll take a
in
look
the.
at
There it is.
Speed.
Yeah, we're
Do you still intend on being done by 3:30?
I'd like to, yeah. Yeah, so I can go. I have to. I think I have a page left of the book. So, let me see. I thought I downloaded that paper.
Okay, I have to go.
so-
I'm late for class. I think Andrew wants to talk to Leo
Yeah,
anyway,
so-
so
It's so funny, Danny. I thought you said class started at 3.
it did. I'm late.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Fucking-
that blows my mind. Because after a few minutes, I was like thinking, oh, well, maybe he said it was 3:30. You had to be to class. It's like,
There's two things that really interest me in life, and one is philosophers talking to each other, and the other one is squirrels chirping at each other when they have a nut.
I've been reading just a little bit in Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on this, because it's normativism and it's being used as an argument against reductive naturalism. And I'm assuming that that's essentially the argument that he's making. But right here, I read, either way, these are at most argument templates. It seems fair to say that at this point in time, the case from normativism against reductive naturalism about meaning content has not yet been fully made. So it seems that there can be some argument made from normativism against reductive naturalism, but that they're not.
Where are you reading that, Leo?
Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. Here, let me just link it. Let me just link it.
Yeah, link it.
It goes over like meaning and it's entitled, scroll all the way back, The Normativity of Meaning and Content. I when I was listening to him, I'm like, none of this in any way to me seems to inherently exclude naturalism.
Yeah, I just don't understand it, because when you study the brain, you can understand how all of those things pop up, beliefs, desires, all of that stuff. I mean, you can hash it out in a highly reductive, naturalistic sense, and I don't understand.
But a lot of these normativist arguments were developed by, I think they go back as far as Kant. You know, Hume had some of them.
Yeah, they go back.
These were people that had no fucking clue how the brain worked. They just didn't.
Right.
So I have one probative question from the last few minutes of discussion that I need you to answer, Speed. And I think it's a really good Audi question. What kind of chirping noises do squirrels make when they nut?
On that note, we should end today's broadcast. And because I'm not going to answer that one. Obviously, you're not going to share that particular video with you guys.
Okay.
Yes, I keep it in my secret folder.
Wow.
I've gone too far.
I don't think you realize how bad you're dissing yourself by alluding to that.
I know. I do.
As secret because it contains secrets.
Yeah. I have a problem with giving a rat's ass today. Anyway.
Not just squirrels, huh?
Yeah, not just squirrels.
What do you have against rodents?
Yeah. God, I'm really mad at Ott. When philosophers start talking about Ott, I think somebody needs to stick a plug in them.
Well, and theists, Christians like to talk the is Ott fucking distinction all the time too. Mm-hmm.
They fucking hate talking to antipodiums like myself, or people from that other planet where the basically the Churchlands live. What the hell? Why can't I think of her name? Paul Churchland and what is the other Churchland? Patricia Churchland.
Are you talking about really scientist, Patricia Churchland?
Yeah, they're really harsh anti basically eliminativists, and saying that we should not ever talk about thoughts or mind or anything. They think we need a new language, and I kind of think that they may be a little bit right about that.
Hold on. Is that
would be really hard to do.
Hey, before we go, I just want to say that I have an idea for tomorrow if you're interested, Speed.
What's that?
Well, I found this video I saved a while back and started watching it today.
Oh yes. Sorry, go ahead.
It's
It's reading something.
It's an old YouTube Google Hangout YouTube video when the Google Hangouts were still a thing. And it's Jack Angstretch in a room with like 5 or 6 presuppositionalist Christians.
Ooh, can you link that to me or mail it to me?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then and it's I think the title of it is like why presuppositionalism is such nonsense or something like that.
Yep. Aaron Raw had Patricia Churchland on his channel about a month or so ago.
Did he really had her on there?
And she's a physicalist, like through and through.
Oh, she is. She wrote a book. She wrote a book called Neurophilosophy, which is really, really a good read. She's pretty bright. And so is Paul. Paul, her and her husband are both. They write together. They work together, and they are well hated by almost.
It's David Chalmers that came up with the hard problem of consciousness.
Right.
Because if I remember correctly, Patricia thinks that there really isn't a hard problem of consciousness,
don't either.
I think this is where I got it from. That she says that if you look at the neuroscience, like ignore the philosophy and just look at the science. Some philosophers
there's no-
like doing that, but if you just ignore the philosophy for a second and look at the science, there is no hard problem of consciousness. There hasn't been
Right.
for at least 20 or 30 years. Like
I
there's just,
wholly
Yeah.
agree with that. Anyway, let's end this.
Overthinking.
Let's end this before it goes too far. Okay,
All right.
guys.
sounds
Okay,
good.
we're ending.
Okay.
So goodbye, cruel world. We'll see you tomorrow.